Yeah, you've talked about how we get together to share our dreams, which is a good thing. And the various activities that we are doing is just like we are planting trees, making the place different, changing the climate. And last week, we ended off with asking what the heck the masters have been doing for ages on the astral plane. Well, it appeared that those it's an environment where nothing changes, and they're comfortable living in that environment. And what we are doing here, the wonderful worldwide educators, and especially your presence in the wars, in the various realms of life, has impacted them in a way that we cannot appreciate, but I think you do. So I'm going to relate a real sad experience by a friend in the Congo as an indication of how maybe the masters and the gurus don't seem to be happy with the new climate that you're engineering. You're involved in some kind of geoengineering. Let's put it in layman terms. Just like you're changing the climate through chemtrails or something like that, but beneficial chemtrails. So what did this new friend have? He had this he had this real sad experience where he met a man who warned him seriously that we, the new presentation, is engaged in a great conflict, and that we are violating cosmic laws by openly sharing our experiences, and that we are going to go through very tough times before attaining our goal, if at all, as the eyes of the great gurus and masters are focused on us. So we should be very careful as we tread. The man tells him that his father, Dwayne, has gone too far, and the Lord's governors and gurus aren't happy. He adds that he tells Dida, the guy who has this experience, that he needs a great protection and assistance against the seismic upheaval that is coming as a result of what we are doing. Dida tells him that we have real guides to protect us against any upheavals, but he tells him that the real guides are far from us, as we are only at the beginning stages of our journey. The man insisted that we, the new followers, are in a great conflict with the cosmic order. And Dida asks why. He said we have to stop sharing with others all that we are sharing, and that even if we stop now, it is already too late, as the great conflict has been launched. So Dida interrupts him by telling him that he should not continue to make useless suggestions, as he knows his modus, he knows his ways, what he's doing, and the new presentation, the new followers have their own modus operandi. The man tells him that Dida, actually knows nothing about the conflict he is talking about, and that he should ask his father, Dwayne, and that even if he asks Dwayne, he will certainly not tell him nothing about it. Then Dida tells him that he has had enough and that he should let him continue with his quests, with his journey and adventure, and that he did not, after all, invite him in the first place to give him that counsel. So the man replied that it is because we all look like books that can literally be read clearly, that he knows exactly what is going to happen to Dida and the Nufriends. So Dida told him that was enough, and I should let him continue with his personal journey. So, and that it would be appropriate for him to look. The man tells him that it will be appropriate for him to look for a guide on his journey in order to proceed with certainty, because he is all alone. And then he adds again that Dida should seek the counsel of his father, Dwayne, regarding what he has told him, and then lets him proceed with his journey. So that was Dida's dream, and on the night of the 21st, breaking the 22nd, I would have shared my own. I would have shared this last week, but then there was the mishap that led me not to attend the Skype.
Okay, so Dida had this experience. All right. So what do you see from this?
Well, what I see is, it reminds me of the Tiger's Fang, where Paul Twitchell is being taken through the various levels, the company of Rouser, and the gods, whoever will not allow him proceed, will try to entice him to stay at that level of life until when he insists, and the help of Rouser, they continue their journey. So I see this as Dida has said, he's on his personal journey, and he's going to face, each of us actually is going to face these trials and these challenges on our journey to recognize, to perceive and recognize the is. So this is what I make of it. So it's a good thing that he overcame this obstacle. And then you see how the man in the dream tries to impress him with the master idea, which the new presentation, the new nowness has done away with. The days of the masters and gurus is past and gone. That he tries to tell him that he needs a guide on his journey, you see. And that is like making him to come back, to go back into that spiritual idea where the master is the guide and the student is like in the wilderness and his hand has to be held by the master to take him along. Well, that is true, but in a sense, but the master as Dwayne has told us, if he's a master at all, it just provides a reference, and everyone is on their own personal journey through life. So you see this idea there. You see how from what we've been doing, like I was taking this and I was making this analogy of taking the tree planting. You know, how you see how it can change the climate of a place, bring about rainfall, abundance, greenery, and all the like. So we find that what Dwayne, you've done here, and what the wonderful world educators are doing is impacting the other levels of life. The masters and gurus are not happy at all that this is going on, and it says their eyes are all focused on what we are doing, and there is a great conflict. You have admitted it yourself that the galactic thing, the Queen of Orion and all that. You see, so there's a as he says, there's a great conflict, and but the conflict they perceive it as a conflict, but the new presentation is just presenting what has to be done, with no idea of a conflict, with no idea of wishing to challenge anybody, just stating the facts as they are in the new nowness. Life is, you see. So this is what I can. When I got this, excuse me, this research experience, I could see it very clearly. The masters and the gurus are not happy that this master-student, Chela-master idea is being suppressed, and it will eventually die. And
it won't die. It's just that it'll still float around like apparitions. But no, I like this. Yeah. This is fun. So again, just the idea of conflict, okay, in their terms is that what they're really saying is that, and I wrote down what you first said here, violating cosmic laws. That's very interesting, isn't it? Oh, you're violating cosmic laws. In other words, what are laws? Laws are restrictions. Laws are confinement, is what they are. And yes, we do recognize them. We stop at the stop sign. We try not to go over the speed limit, but we do sneak that one in once in a while. But the thing is that yes, and the cosmic laws, okay, and Paul talked about these things too, the law of karma, the spiritual law of this or whatever. Again, that was boot camp, and that was to take place then. And yes, there are things that still apply. They just don't vanish. In other words, the gurus and masters, I'm just stating that, that routine is done with. That's all. But there are still going to be people that are still going to play the routine. Harry's not very happy with what I'm doing because, he's the self-proclaimed master, actually by Joni. Okay, Joni made him the master. He didn't have really the courage to do that on his own. He had to have somebody do it for him. And so, just like Darwin too, it was, Darwin bought off the board of directors so that, he could be recognized. Okay, so, and that's fine. All of that is fine. It's a good reference to view and see what's going on, and if that's what you want to go for, exactly. So, the great gurus and masters in creation, no matter what level they're on, because all creation is basically the same. You have all your five bodies right here. It's all here and now. They would rather just sit in lotus position, maybe levitating or floating, and just sing Okay, yes, it's like In other words, kind of wondering what's next, but really not knowing, but thinking that they already do know. Yeah, that's really what it is, isn't it? And that's fine. That's fine. And yes, see, there is the boys bring things up, and to see how the individual will decide to see through that or take the risk or comply. You see, because they see us, just like a father sees the child, and just like with how the Indians here raise their children. They raise them a particular way to shock them at times, to get past their fears. And one of them was, in their dreams, they were to conquer the bear in their dreams. Some tribes had this, to where when they were in their dreams or the real side. Now, there is a difference between dreams and the real side. There is a difference, okay? It seems the same, but no, there is a difference, okay? And so the real side is awareness. Your dreams are just that. They're showing situations or possibilities or trying to show you a lesson. That's more like in the dream area. It just depends upon the experience, okay? So you learn to recognize these things. So I think it's kind of fun what you said here. And, yeah, the gurus and the masters, they're not happy. Okay, what does that tell you, too? Is life about happiness? And so, again, many people think it is. It's like, well, gee, my guru and my master, they should be happy, but they're not happy with Dwayne. So Dwayne is like, here's Val. Val is like a little innocent kid. He's in the corporation 40 years, and then he has someone tell him in the corporation all of a sudden that he's stepped up and he took the risk to come here. All of a sudden, he's labeled by this person as pure evil, okay? And what has he done? He just simply recognizes what's going on. Now, all of a sudden, instantly, he's pure evil. Okay? So again, everybody has their idea of things, don't they? And if that makes sense, go for it. When people give me ideas or they say, well, I believe in God and this or that, and I go, well, have fun. Go pray to your God. That's it. I'm done. I am not going to override or try and override their statement. That's their choice. That's their business, etc. This is for the real risk takers. So, again, at different times in our life, things come up, and we're given the opportunity to make a new decision. But for the most part, most people stay the same. Again, I could have stayed with my wife and family there. Hey, the rent was paid. I had a great house. Business was good. It was excellent. Everything was taken care of. I could have stayed there, but I didn't. I left.
It's so long that maybe you forgot this part. He also said we should stop sharing with others what we are sharing. And that if we stop now, it is already too late, as the great conflict has been launched. Which corroborates the fact that what we are doing on Skype and on Facebook, creating awareness and all the like, is really impacting it's affecting the gurus and masters on the other level. That is, they still believe in this law of silence. You see, that anything we have, we should keep it to ourselves, and it will be some kind of attainment that we have reached, which is unavailable to others. But we just make it available. Our awareness is just shared with others, so that they can in turn become aware. They are not used to this, so they want they want it to stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like the government talking, doesn't it? Yeah, don't tell anybody about the chemtrails. Don't tell anybody about the HARP and what it's doing, and the vaccines especially. You're not to talk about that, you see. That's what the government employees are told. Yeah, just stay silent. And Harry talked about it too on stage one time about the inner experiences. And that is that, that's a cop-out, sharing those and whatever. Well, let's look at the world today. You want to just let it keep going like it is? You want to just keep agreeing unconsciously with it because it's happening and it's not going to stop. It's all poison and polluted. It's only going to get worse. Or do you want to step up and say something and, kind of shock the world and, the poor gurus and that, they're just, they're at wit's end. It's like it's all about silence. In other words, what they're saying is, in silence, is that, hey, we have everything under our control. Everything's fine with us, even though, the students and, our followers are rather struggling, but, at least they're supporting us, just like Harry. See, everybody's out there working for Harry. He's fine. He's got a tough job. He has to show up at the seminar for 2 hours, every year at the seminars. He's got a tough job. So in the meantime, everybody's out there working their 9 to 5 boring Wi-Fi jobs to help support Harry, with this focus on his pictures and giving money and buying the books and stuff and the membership. So again, yes, I'm disrupting things. And actually, I shared this with Claudia one time. I had this experience, it was months ago, but it's along the lines of other experiences. There was a guitar player that was very famous in the 60s and 70s. His name was Dwayne Eddy. Okay, spelled just like my name. And he created this tune called Rebel Rouser. And that was played for me on the real side. I shared this with Claudia months and months and months ago. And yeah, that's what it is. This is where we're at. Yeah, it's not a rebellion. But what it is, it's just something so real and precious. But you got to see it. So otherwise you want to sit there and do your and watch everybody struggle and suffer. I don't. I want to take the risk to see if they'll wake up. And it's a shock. It's going to be a shock. Yeah, it's just like when people start to realize, what the government's doing. You want to pretend, the people that I've known, they just want to pretend that, oh, it's all okay, la, la, la. And so again, no, you're held unconsciously. They don't see that. And you're going to come back unconsciously. And when you go to the real side, you're still unconscious. You're still holding on to those ideas. And this is what the gurus and masters are doing. They want things. They've earned their position to a certain point, and they don't want to take the risk because they're afraid to see more because they're self-satisfied. And yeah, so I'm rocking the boat, and it's like, oh, we're all supposed to be silent. Well, I doubt if they were silent to get to their position. I doubt if the Queen of England and the great families of the world that have stolen all the wealth from everybody else that now sit in silence were in silence at the time that they did all that and persecuted everybody else to get what they wanted. Now they look really cool and calm because, they can control their situation. But realistically, they're controlled by it, just like the Queen of Orion. She thought she had something. Well, we showed up. And we had justification, and that is from all that she did. Well, Queenie, if you don't want to agree to where, things make sense with everybody else that's suffering because of you, well, again, you're gone. And she was. She'd rather have her arrogance. So, again, what these people are displaying, and it's a challenge for Dita, too. It's his decision. This is always the razor's edge to see more and more and more and more and more. Okay? It's not set in any way. And yeah, they're all upset. The cosmic law, as soon as they bring up these ideas, and again, it's like the people that say, well, I have the rod of power, like the Vartican Master and the Way of Truth and John Roger Hinkins and all these other people. Well, guess what? There ain't no such thing as the rod of power anymore. See, all of a sudden it's self-evident. You ain't got nothing. You just have the idea. And so again, what about these individuals that you're relating to? Are you really sincere with them? Are you really showing them what's real? And the guidance is very important. Yes, the real guides. I look for the guidance. In other words, it's a given. In other words, Paul and Rebazar, I am just Dwayne. That's who I am. That's who I like to be related to. I use these other things, but it's just Dwayne. And the reality is that I am reverent to the reality and the experiences and the position they have. That's my position. I don't think of them like Harry does, where he's the master and, they're in the background. That's not the idea. They're all ahead, and I put everybody else ahead, too. The thing being is the whole of life is bigger. It's a new day, and these individuals that have capitalized on the consciousness of people, and mainly the unconsciousness, they don't want it to change, just like Joni. All she cares about is her business plan. That's all the Queen of England cares about in the Vatican, is business as usual. One-dimensionally, self-demising business. And they know it. They're caught up in it. but they don't have the courage to step aside from their old routines to get past it. Because again, just like we were talking about earlier, some of these individuals that all of a sudden have come into the new presentation, yeah, they've got a lot of connections, and those connections don't want them to succeed. When you join the mafia, you don't just get up and leave. It's like, oh, I'm retiring, I'm leaving. Well, you can leave, walk out the door, but then they got the hitman out there that takes care of you because they don't want you talking. And it's just like the drug cartel, etc. You know, everybody's having a great time, except when one of them gets caught and he goes to prison, they already know he's going to talk. So what do? They send a hitman after him to get rid of him. Even if they're brothers or friends or whatever. Sorry, bro, got to get rid of you. This is how it is. And so these individuals that are stepping up here, oh, yeah, you got to look around, because you know what? You're not going to be liked. This is how it is, and this is how the real guides are too. You know, these masters and guru with their cosmic laws, they don't like the boys at all. Rebazar used to talk about this. He even talked about it in Paul's books. You know, they shudder and spit and whatever. They don't want the boys around because they don't want to lose their control. Yes, you're on your own. This is the lonely journey. But the best part is that you get to stand real with awesome beings that are everything. Yes, but you got to take the risk. So yes, Charles, I'm glad you brought this up. All the cosmic gurus, oh, gee whiz, they're just a little bit upset, aren't they? They're just going to have to faster, aren't they? Keep umming, boys.